Cutting edge guests, awesome, uncensored, jaw-dropping information, plus funny memes, good deeds, and loads of laughter. Kind of have it all. Ladies and gentlemen, if your soul is awake, then welcome, because you're in the right place. Welcome back to Send It Sunday, you divine lions and lionesses. On today's show, the quantum financial system reset being unleashed. How the Board of Peace is working to destroy the deep state. The silver surge, the incoming precious metals boom about to happen, the astrological alignment, the UFO drops Epstein, GESARA, the 51st state, Greenland, and much more. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon and enjoy this little video. Congrats to Team USA. Well, Sunday is going to be starting in a few hours after Team Canada versus America. One America, MAGA. Anybody's from Alberta, they should get an independence signing going on here. There's hundreds that did it in Alberta, in Yuma, Arizona rather. They should probably do it down here in South America. We'll see you guys soon. And welcome back to Send It Sunday. This is February the 22nd, 2026. Quite amazing because we're about to wrap up the Lunar New Year of the Fire Horse. The beginning of it started on February the 13th, as you all know from a Fire Horse show, brought that about. And there's some incredible cosmic and astrological alignments going on. What's really powerful for those of you who are brand new, welcome to the Sovereign Soul Show, because you know our creed is love, levity, and liberty. And the Bling Buddha is our mascot. He's firing pills of awakening from his SIG 226, wearing a gold chain and an XRP token in silver around his neck, has been for now 4 seasons. Double piece on his shoulder, holding up the lotus flower of life. And myself as a Reiki master over a decade now, and have been practicing Reiki since I had that first incredible experience since 2002. This is truly amazing to see the cosmological, astrological, frequential events as well come to play out in our actual realities that we are co-creating together. And then on a collective standpoint, which is what they wanted to do, they wanted to hijack, and they have, in a lot of reasons regarding why they did this. But the bottom line is you are a quantum reactor, each one of you who are watching. And if you don't feel that, hey, I'm a quantum reactor or I'm nothing special and I'm just kind of tired of this, war that's going on, precious metals wars to the 5th generational warfare, the spiritual warfare, the physical, mental, emotional, you name it, right across the board. I want you to just take a moment, everybody. I want you to just breathe in through your nose to your belly. Take a deep cleansing breath. You don't need to close your eyes. I just want you to do belly breathing as I share with you a reminder of how magical and amazing you are. You are incredibly lucky. You are the fortunate one, because it takes 250 million sperm to compete to fertilize your mother's egg and create that spark of life. For that first God molecule, that first stem cell, to become the blueprint of the magic creature, the human, the expression of divine masculine or divine feminine that you are as a divine lion or lioness in this life. 250 million sperm. So you have the lottery ticket. You've won. You're here. You're the fortunate one. You can literally consider yourself chosen for this lifetime. And it's most certainly not been easy. There's a lot of challenges. But here you are. I mean, you're among, what Trudeau called us all, the small fringe minority, right? And when you saw stuff like this happening back then, and these are real pictures of people, put on your mask and the fear and the cognitive dissonance, and other ones like this, put the mask on put a clear grocery bag over your head and sit on a train and read your phone. I mean, you are not one of them. We're all in this community together of consciousness, and got Oakville, Ontario in the house, which is great. Washington State in YouTube, and to see all of you, Minnesota, Central Ohio, Longview, Texas, east of Dallas proper, Montreal, French Canada. Hello from Ontario. Yeah, well said. Fantastic. Jersey Shore, all across the planet. All of us are unique expressions of creator source, the great omnipresence of divinity. Now, religions call that creator God. And the download I had 2 years ago, coming on 3 years ago, from a high source creator went, just say great omnipresence of divinity. You know, the all-knowing, the all-loving, all-present capability that we are, that have come from the creator source. And once again, you are the fortunate one. 250 million sperm, 250 million on average, and you won the lottery. And so wealth is found within. It's a frequency of abundance. And this is a large part of the underlying current, the premise of this show and this entire podcast that we do at the Sovereign Soul Show. You are the quantum reactor. And we know that frequency can either be used for negative aspects, directed energy, right? Directed energy weapons, etc. Other conspiracies, proven fact, no. Or it can be used for higher good, for extremely positive things. So you can beam love, the frequency of love, which is the greatest power in the multiverse, in anything, into people. Forms of prayer, envisioning, literally can transform people. So you are a quantum healer yourself. You are a light worker. You don't need to have gone through, I mean, it's always great. You go through Reiki or Qigong training or other types of training and frequency medicine, as well as plant medicine, proper plant medicine. I'm not an ayahuasca guy. I'm not a smoking guy. None of that stuff. But when you're talking about, you know, grounding, and we're talking about channeling, good frequency with a love, with love as that frequency, and you put it out there, which is Reiki, which is some of the stuff that you saw from the light workers of Yeshua come in and do, then it's incredible what we can creatively and co-collectively manifest in a new earth rising. So the wealth, the abundance, the excitement is manifested within, and it's part of your daily ritual. So what the heck does all that have to do with the title today of the Quantum Financial System Reset being unleashed, right? The Board of Peace versus the deep state, right? We have a silver surge. It already surged. We hit 120 a month ago. Came back down to 70. It was in the 78, 79, just kissed 80 all last week. While once again, the Chinese markets have been closed for Lunar New Year, and you have a massive precious metals boom. It's like a pressure cooker. If anybody knows about pressure cooker, right? You've had grandma that's made you incredible feasts at Thanksgiving or Easter, or you just come over for a freaking Sunday dinner, amazing. You put everything into a pressure cooker, you know, at a certain point in time that lid's going to blow. And this lid is going to blow. You're going to see that really kick in a high gear on February 27th. And just remember, if you went back to the Fire Horse show that I did, the reasons why for that very quickly in summary is that this is the day when they can call for the physical deliveries for March. And then we're talking about UFO drops and GESARA and Epstein. So let's just go in here. Let's just dive right in, because all of this is tied together. The UFO disclosure, which President Trump put out this week, and here's his exact truth post if you haven't seen it. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs, and unidentified flying objects, UFOs, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. If you've seen any of the shows we've done over the years, you know a little bit of the story. You know, coming home from Royal Canadian Air Cadets, I was 12 years old, Brampton, Ontario, for many of you who are in Ontario or Canada now. My dad and I are looking up at the sky over Pearson International Airport. It's probably like 35 kilometers away from home. And we're seeing 8 lights dance around. And they did that for at least 10 minutes. When we got home, we had to try and phone just before 911, phone the cops, and the line was busy about what we had seen. And everybody had seen it at school the next day. And then I've seen this consistently, these UFOs, UAPs. I've seen Stargates open. I've had people on here on the channel. We've shown the videos of actual Stargates opening live, whether it's in Florida or over Horsetooth Reservoir in Fort Collins, Colorado, and other places, including on Truth Tour, like live footage, right? From myself or from other guests on the show whom we know. Colonel Sellers, former deputy commander of Delta Force, with his own footage from his phone outside of Houston, Texas, watching ships pass through the sky, materialize, and disappear from that incredible man. So this is all coming up. This ties into Epstein. This is going to be the year of massive disclosure. And I open this by the fact that the astrological and the cosmological signs are all here for that. So let's just take a look at the astrological alignment. If you just watched our Spiritual Sovereign Warrior show with Senseis Phil and Dan, he had a little bit of a touch on this, well, a great touch on this from Sensei Phil. Thanks for everybody for the comments for those amazing men. And Neptune and Saturn's great reset happened on February 20th at 0 degrees Aries. And that's a once in 1,000-year event. That's a complete reboot. Okay, this is a cellular reboot. And for anybody who might be sitting here, not wearing one of these, not looking like this, but maybe those people who were the very few, we have soul trolls every now and then who show up and be like, oh yeah, well, what does astrology have to do with silver? I just want to get rich quick. Think of the pyramids of Giza. Think about all of the incredible indigenous nations who have come before where you are sitting right now, who have looked to the stars for guidance and have also built their entire towns, cities, the Aztecs, the Mayans, Machu Picchu, in alignment with the cosmos. It has a massive effect on us. And you can't sit here with the moon, which is towed into our orbit about 55,000 years ago, because you even have the Hopi saying never existed before, and then all of a sudden the moon showed up. Sitting here going, okay, so we are deeply tied astrologically and cosmologically to these events of these celestial bodies. And that also has a massive effect on how society, whether it unfolds or it collapses. Dark Ages versus the Age of Enlightenment, the Golden Age, which we're all in right now. We are in the Age of Enlightenment. We're in the Golden Age. This is in the Satyuga right now. This has literally been something prophesized. So it's all about maneuvering your energy and keeping yourself open-minded and aware and conscious in creating excellence in your life and with others, and joy and happiness and play, which is really key and really cool. Because you take somebody who might be one of these and they're like, oh yeah, what does astrology have to do with anything we have on earth in my life? Okay, just wait till the full moon and go look at the police reports or talk to a police dispatcher about when the majority of the calls come in. How about doctors in the ERs and good benevolent doctors, right? When do the ERs mostly fill up? Notice something about the full moon? Do those tidal energies have anything to do and affect with us from a mental, physical, spiritual, emotional state? 100% they absolutely do. And you can actually, and it has been, photographed, filmed, and shown time and time again. So part of the UFO disclosure, which is going to be amazing, is also about the medbed technologies. And, you know, Michael Jago and I keep doing the Keys of Creation series. We've got another one coming up a little over a week, preparing for that on the Ascension codes and unlocking and restoring your 12-strand DNA, and also having the ability for you to go up to higher dimensions of consciousness with where you are right now. So I know that might sound like a lot because some people are going, I want to know about the silver. When am I going to get rich? Well, again, 1 to 250 million, quarter of a billion, guys and gals. You are freaking rich. You are abundant. It's truly amazing. So I'm going to set the tones for this because remember, in just a period of a week, you've had the UFO disclosure and alien acknowledgement, and you had the White Hats roll out the public arrest of pedophile Andrews, the prince. And that continues to be a set of dominoes that fall. You have arrests that have been publicized from Denmark all through Europe, other parts of Canada, the United States, Australia, with regards to all of those, and it continues on. And part of this has already been done. A large part has already been done. So you're waking up the public to that, right? So we have the astrological, we have the cosmological, and I really felt where we just saw this today too. It was pretty amazing to shape up with the Olympics. We had Team Canada men's hockey, and we had Team USA men's hockey in the very final event at the Olympics. For hockey, USA playing Canada, and USA hadn't won hockey in the Olympics. I think it went back over a quarter of a century. And here it is that they were tied 1-1 in the third period, and then USA came in, scored a winning goal. And just moments after that happened today, 10:13 a.m., I guess that's Eastern time for the White House, they posted this, and Eagle has taken down a Canadian goose. I call them Cobra chickens because if anybody's in Canada and you grew up with geese, they're freaking Cobra chickens, you know why. And they took a Justin Trudeau post, Justine Trudeau Castro, from February 2025, Friday, and said, you can't take our country and you can't take our game. I think that's very symbolic too, because it's showing one America, making America great again, and what is going to be submitted. And speaking of submission, in a very positive, and we can continue on here, want to give great shout outs to the people in Alberta. You saw me mention that in the intro. I was sitting around here watching the game today during breakfast at a public restaurant, and take a look at what has continued to be pushed forward in Alberta. There was a massive turnout when there was a freedom convoy, Alberta Independence Freedom Convoy, rolled up from Calgary to Red Deer, so that's north, along Highway 2, with trucks flying Alberta flags. Freaking amazing. And then what we also saw yesterday in Yuma, Arizona, hundreds of Albertans, you know, snowbirds, Canadian snowbirds, living down there, visiting. BC Canada's in the house, it's great. And they signed the Alberta independence petition. So here you have it, that the very first one to go from the Crown Corporation entity of a country, not a nation. A nation is sovereign, a country is not. It is a corporation. Will be Alberta. And so people keep it up, keep sharing it, keep going, because that's what they want to see, and that's what we need to do. We need to continue to collectively inspire each other, motivate, share in the joy, share in this announcement. Because this also comes back to GESARA and NESARA. Remember, the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, global, is also focused upon protecting those nations that have assured the sovereignty of each one of their borders, their lands, and their people. So what we're seeing here now that came in with the Fire Horse, the year of the Fire Horse, Chinese Lunar New Year, is like a cosmic trigger for economic and spiritual freedom, right? So with the UFO alien disclosure, so okay, Palladians in the Pentagons, Valthor, maybe one or two aliens are in the Pentagon right now, maybe actually in front of our faces on live TV as well, coming from different planets, but they look a lot like us. All of that coming out will also shatter the institutions which we have seen that have been indoctrinating humanity for generations and literally eons. On top of that, the history, the true history of Earth, the real size of Earth, what's beyond the ice walls, what's the truth about magnetic north and Arctic versus Antarctica, what else is out there, and how old is the civilization of humanity on the earth plane, and how many other civilizations have been here going back hundreds of millions or billions of years. And what is that? It's incredible what is about to break out. Excuse me. And then that will take down the institutions of religion. So remember, in the 5th century in Rome, the Vatican called the Council of Nicaea, and you had Constantine come in and sit there, and they tore a whole bunch of hundreds of books out of the Bible, right? Excuse me for a second. Air conditioner blowing on me. That's just how it has to be. Sometimes a little bit dry and get a little bit of a cough. That's how it goes. So the Council of Nicaea rewrote the propaganda of the Old and the New Testament. And I know there might be people here going, my gosh, I'm Roman Catholic. Hey, I have nothing against that. You know, raised Roman Catholic, communion, confirmation, etc., etc. But we can sit here and go that those had to find a way to control people. And we know that the spiritual control was at Vatican City. Remember, Vatica is the Greek goddess of the dark underworld, Vatica, Vatican. And then who was it that murdered Christ, who jailed him? The Roman Empire. So now the Roman Empire takes over a burgeoning spread of Christianity and reformats it to its will, and then publish it and says, this is right and you're wrong. No, that's heresy if you say this. Oh, what is that? You have a Magellan, a telescope, you're looking at celestial bodies, and that's what you're saying is science, Galileo? We're going to lock you up. Throw away the key. That's all going away. So spirituality, the spiritual awakening is ascending dramatically over anybody who has followed the religious protocols, the religion of people across the planet. So they're all consolidated to a moment of truth. So we come back to that level. And when that truth continues to be revealed, you can all tap into it, meditate on it, research it. It's all here. And we've got many shows on this too, in different segments from incredible guests like Bishop Jim O'Connor, etc., right? Who has access to all 777 books of the Bible. In our last show we talked about, he was on here, reincarnation as one of them on Fuck It Friday. And he covered that one off too. And he's an ordained exorcist, West Point, 1976 grad, U.S. Military Academy, retired U.S. Army major with an MBA. And my goodness, that man is truly remarkable. He's like the 5-star general for God's army here on earth, as far as I'm concerned. So all this information is here for everybody to go out to find, to realize, or to know that it's coming. And then co-creatively, we can ensure that that expedites in our timeline. And we bring it forward, right? Just like this. This was posted, as you all know, on the thumbnail today, Freedom's Trail. So I want to look at this thumbnail, look at what was posted by US Debt Clock, and let's just break it down what you're all seeing here today. And yes, Mexico today, the cartel military is a war zone. So anybody who you know from Puerto Vallarta, across parts of Mexico, the United States State Department just 2.5 hours ago published a notice all across to all Americans to shelter in place because of the war zone, the cartels. And Mexico is responsible for nearly 1/4 of the global silver mining operations. So you don't think the cartels want to give it up that easily, since they've been designated foreign terrorist organizations. So it's incredible, right? It's a real kinetic war that is happening, and it's up to us to do what is necessary in our own home, in our own place, and within our own community, and then share that and maintain always a positive outlook to create that. But I want to take you into now Freedom's Trail. That's the title of it on US Debt Clock right now. So I've talked extensively about the Coinage Act of 1792. That's right up there in the top left-hand corner at the 10 o'clock position. Coinage Act of 1792. And what do you see there? You see a gold and a silver coin. The gold and the silver coin. So 1792, that is your metallism right here. Bimetallics, 15 ounces of silver must equate 1 ounce of gold. And gold just snapped back over $5,100, almost hit $5,200. It was $5,192 on Friday's close. So it's the highest weekly close on ounces of gold ever in history. So that's already snapped back. And then what did we see when all week it was 79, 78, silver, maybe it just kissed 80. And then boom, in the US markets, it crossed $85 on Friday night, right back up there. And we will see what happens tomorrow. I've got some more information for everyone on that. But let's continue forward with dissecting this aspect of this incredible little calm that's come from debt clock. We have the Bank of England on the right at the 2 o'clock position in 1694. But you know what happened in 1694 with the Bank of England and what was it? King George, right? That they were all fighting. That was part of why the reason of the revolution started. And then on the left, you have free silver, 1896, Brian, versus the United States 1913 Federal Reserve System. Remember that Act of 1913 brought in the FBI, the IRS, the ADL, and the Federal Reserve. And then on the left-hand side, you have 2026 USA Treasury dollar 100% reserve with John Fitzgerald Kennedy, President JFK's image, right there on the cover on a $100 golden note. And that, conversely, you look to the right, where Uncle Sam's pointing on his actual left, facing you, and you have JP Morgan circled in yellow on a $100 Federal Reserve note. 100% cabal, 100% deep state, and likely got off the actual Titanic, the Titanic sister, at the last moment and murdered everybody who was opposing the Federal Reserve, all those patriots. So this war has been going on for a long, long time across the planet. It's been going on for thousands and thousands of years. And so you're one of those 250 million lucky sperm to be here as a fortunate one, to be here not only during the Great Awakening, but participating in the spiritual awakening. You're participating from your heart center, mentally, physically, and emotionally, in everything you do as a sovereign soul. And the soul, another download I got from Source as well, is the sound of unlimited love. And how great is that? And then they have these archons that come in and attach us, and you have to keep yourself spiritually protected all day long and do things to take actions. Because yes, unfortunately, there's still freaking chemtrails, and there's still freaking idiots like this who I even saw in Alberta last week. Didn't have the water bottle on the head, but they definitely were in the car alone driving with a mask. And then even on a flight last week, there was a total mask-tard who showed up. Here we are 6 years later, and that's just who they are. Someone who you can't change. Like you said, 4 to 6% are lost forever. And we're going back to gold in a massive way. It's already done. It's part of bringing it all through too, where you're seeing the systems crumble and being exposed. So the politicians, to the entrepreneurs, to the banks, to the governments of corporate countries who respond to the city of London and all the bad deep state, exposing them for the satanic rituals, whether it's in Hollywood, the music industry. We just saw Nicki Minaj post yesterday across all her socials to, again, 250 million followers that she has, that she got a Bible from President Trump, and she said it was the most precious gift she's ever received. And she had just called out all of the music industry in Hollywood being your greatest performers, and some of the people that you listen to, likely most every one of them, are performing disgusting satanic rituals. And nobody has sued her for defamation for that broad statement, and nobody has come back to counteract her in a very big way. So you have that from the entertainment, you see it from the television, you see it from the news broadcasts, you're seeing it in the financial markets. Heck, you even had an American bank last week run a commercial right after Super Bowl that said, you had a guy talking to his buddy saying, hey, silver and gold are doing great. I should really buy precious metals. And then his banker shows up like in a shower and says, hey, diversification is really important, but let's book an appointment and look at your portfolio so we can properly diversify you into other things like index funds, mutual funds, blah, 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 blah. Yet what they're not pointing out is this chart that's been sitting here for the last 2 minutes on the screen, showing you that gold has outperformed the S&P's 500 total basis on 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, and 25 years. Gold. Here's the 1 week on the gold chart, just last week. Just watching everybody doing a market panic, which is literally a 100% designed by the spoofers, designed by the criminals who have been suppressing and allowing to swing. And it's almost at the point, literally, where they can't hide it any longer. And you had JP Morgan Chase that was massively into the suppression of it. And then they flipped long, and then they're messing it around with buy and sell orders. And then the very last fraction of a second, they don't execute the order. So everybody piles on, then they buy it low again, and everybody is selling, and then they buy back in. And then JP, all of that stuff is being shown in real time for everyone. So look at this dead cat bounce on gold. Here's the same 1 week on silver during the Chinese Lunar New Year. So remember, all the exchanges are closed right now too. So if you have all the exchanges from Shanghai to Bangkok that are closed, and then all of a sudden tomorrow morning, literally a little bit later on tonight for us in the Americas, they start opening up. Whoa. I think it's going to be a massive bloodbath because the arbitrage gig is pretty much up. And once again, gentle reminder, just 7 weeks ago, China blocked all exports on silver. And remember this, in 2017, President Trump said that silver is likely the most undervalued asset in the world. 2017, President Trump said silver is likely the most undervalued asset. I think he actually said precious metal, but I'm going with asset, paraphrasing, in the world. So then you're seeing this on US debt clock, and you're seeing that it's now been created with executive order and classified a strategic mineral. It's absolutely incredible what is about to happen and what you're already living through. I mean, it already is incredible what we've seen happen, right? Silver going to 120 when it was 29 bucks the year before. Gold going to 5,500. Now, remember, I did a show in August or was September and said gold would be 5,000 an ounce. I got mocked by our IRA advisor. Well, it's certainly bullish. Okay, yeah, no, I can read a package. But that guy's probably still wearing a mask and living in a freaking plastic bubble still 6 years later, right? I know that you're all not like that. You're not whatsoever. I also want to show you this because we're talking about 51st state and Greenland and the security of the entire Western Hemisphere and the conference that happened that was hosted by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and 4-star General Raisin Kane earlier this week. So on to Greenland. Here's President Trump's post about Greenland. He said, working with the fantastic governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, we're going to send a great hospital boat to Greenland to take care of the many people who are sick and not being taken care of there. It's on the way, President DJT. And on the back of that boat, in the rendering on this painting, is actually the United States naval ship Mercy is here. Now, USNS Mercy was last deployed, or at least visibly deployed, March 22nd of 2020 in California. And we also saw big ships like that, at least one of them, in New York City during those massive lockdowns, docked alongside in the Hudson. It's real interesting because what is it? Denmark? Aren't they supposed to be the ones who are responsible for the Greenlanders? But America's coming to the rescue, which is also really interesting too, because Greenland and Iceland are different countries, regions, but Greenland is said to be covered all in ice. So why isn't that Iceland number 2? And you can go back centuries and you can see maps that have been drawn that Greenland is green and lush. So what is it that happened? What is it that's going on in the South Atlantic? What happened to Three Eye Atlas? How come we're not hearing about this anymore? I'm just seeding everybody here because you will be hearing about it very soon, and the incredible relevance of how we have seen that the history of our world was hijacked, rewritten, and pushed upon us from all aspects, whether it's maths, sciences, to arts, literature, and everything in between, and astrology, and cosmology, and technology. And we're going back to the truth, 100% the truth. And that truth also, in a financial sense, is precious metals, asset-backed currencies. And that's where we are, right here, right now, on Sunday night, February 22nd. You've got Epstein's network, which even in the new 3 million drop that came out, even with the redactions, confirmed UFOs, UAPs, aliens, confirmed that Biden was executed in 2019, and they set up a clone, and then they had actors in masks that the deep state were running and white hats were running. It's confirmed in those files. It also confirmed those Epstein files that drop Zodiac-like secret societies, Majestic 12 style, figures like Avi Loeb, the Harvard astronomer who is pushing UFO research, and Dean Radin, the parapsychology expert. It was all there. And the deep state was suppressing the extraterrestrial knowledge, the alien secrets, the advanced technology, which ties directly into UFO disclosure efforts. Free energy, Tesla, you name it, Atlantean and Lemurian timelines, all coming back to a convergence of truth. And if anybody is sitting here going, yeah, we won't see it, well, let's just remember where we were 1 year ago. Where were we with JFK assassination files, RFK assassination files, MLK assassination files? You saw a ton that got dumped. Even RFK Jr., the year prior to that, when it was leaked on X in 2024 and said the assassination of my uncle should be the greatest story of the year. And it's just swept under the rug because the demonics were still controlling a lot of the media apparatus. And it's virtually gone right now. So I hope that all of you, wherever you are, because we know 2 weeks ago I did this show, we had our audience in Australia chiming in here and saying there are lineups, day-long lineups to buy silver in Australia. We have seen reports from massive retail bullion dealers in America and Europe saying we're out of silver. We have seen miners and producers of silver in Europe and Switzerland saying they can't fulfill orders for 3 to 5 months. And now we know the vaults are practically empty. And now everybody is very much aware of the suppression and the rigging of the game, which is coming back because a price floor is going to be set on silver that makes it great for refiners, extremely profitable, and what's baked into that is a long-term plan for their protections to not only just mine and refine and export silver from an industrial capacity, but also other precious minerals for our supply chain, for your new world. And I say new world with the greatest gusto, because this will be the return to a type 1 civilization, unlike anything we've even seen in Star Trek. But that's probably the closest that can come to mind that we can conceptualize right now. All of you amazing divine lions and lionesses. And I just wanted to discuss with you one more thing about your collective consciousness. And here it is, coming right up to you from this open source intel on All Day on Astronomy on X. Science has confirmed that your cells hear you talk to yourself, for your cells telling yourself I'm a mess, has the same toxic impact as running away from a predator, meaning your words can also make you sick. I like to flip it to the positive side. Your thoughts, your feelings create actions, your actions create results. And a thought is a thing. It literally has an effect that can be measured and unfortunately read by certain technology. But that thought, that energetic pulse, is a signal that you are putting out. You are a transceiver. You are sending it out, and you are also receiver of other inputs. So all of that extrapolates to everything in your environment. The clothes you wear, are they linens or polyester with PUFAs like Lululemon? It's been proven. Yes, Lululemon has been proven, unfortunately, that in all of their clothing, at least for the female and the yoga leggings, that in the crotches, and likely with the men as well, they sprayed PUFAs. And what does that do? It disrupts certain parts of your reproductive systems. So everything that you intake, everything that goes in, has a result, an effect on what you send out, what you see, what you feel, what you hear, what you create in your world. And so if we're creating greatly together at a level that we are at a harmonic vibration of the highest ascended plane that we can be at right now, on the show, off the show, throughout our daily life, through our interactions, as best as we can, then we are so much more grateful for it. So is the world, and most especially the generations of our children coming up. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, for listening, for commenting, for liking, for supporting each other in the chat. And once again, Goldco is our partner. And I have Dr. Peter C. Earl coming back on the show very shortly. I'll actually show you his book, amazing, about gold and how it goes back through all time, all societies, all the way to the earliest anthropological dig. That gold was revered not just as a currency, but also gold and silver, medicinal properties, and of course, highly, highly conductive with great technological properties as well. BuddhaLovesGold.com is our link to Goldco. You can book a free consultation with them in America tomorrow, but you can also get a report from us regarding the massive silver squeeze. And once again, as you've seen in my last shows, why I believe silver will be $1,000 to $5,000 an ounce this year. And I'll leave you with this. There's rumors that I've seen and look to be substantiated thus far that there are futures contracts, 11,000 of them reported exactly, that gold will reach $20,000 an ounce by December of this year in futures contract tradings. So ask yourself this: if that is true, and gold is trading right now at the close of the show at 51.92, then what is it that 11,000 contracts and the big hedge funds and institutional buyers behind it know about what's to come with gold just in the next 10 months that you don't? And what we see in this golden age is that reset, the constitutional currency and the Coinage Act of 1792 with price floors to benefit us all. Here it is in President Trump's own words, and I'll leave you with this. Have a blessed evening, dear souls. All right, you sovereign souls, now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver if you already have not. And if you are and you have a chance to do so, I highly encourage to do so even more, because gold and silver will launch the golden age, which Commander-in-Chief Trump has continuously referenced.
The dollar is going down, and it's not a pretty picture, and it's not being sustained by proper policy and proper thinking. This was an opportunity, and maybe an opportunity to show people what's happening with the dollar so that we can do something about it.
Get some if you can. BuddhaLovesGold.com will take you to our partner Goldco. They have over 6,000 1,000 5-star reviews. This is why now is the time to buy gold and silver, because we have thousands of Americans buying gold today. The rising inflation has reduced our purchasing power. Dysfunctional politics don't work for us. The US dollar has lost over 97% of its value since 1913, while the price of gold has increased over 9,000%. Silver has fared well against the dollar too, with the silver price increasing over 4,500% since 1913. It's about wealth protection. Physical precious metals act as a hedge against dips in volatile markets. Go over to BuddhaLovesGold.com. That's www.BUDDHA, BuddhaLovesGold.com. You will download your free silver and gold guide today, and our great people over there at Goldco will take care of you. That's BuddhaLovesGold.com. You'll see a picture of me right on there, Brad Wozni. And once again, BRICS is the new financial system. Asset-backed precious metals is the way of the future. This is about financial control. Diversifying your assets with gold and silver puts you in control of your wealth at BuddhaLovesGold.com. Thanks for joining us on the program, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, follow, subscribe, share this with 9 friends and family. And of course, if you enjoy our blinged Buddha firing red pills from his 9mm, let us know.